Hello, my Sparky friends. I hope you had a great Christmas break and got to spend lots of time learning about Jesus with your families. In a couple of weeks, on Sunday, January 24th, we are going to have another Walk Up Awards night. This time, it will be during the day. Make sure you're getting your verses done this week because it is the last week to get them done for your awards to be ready that day. We will have another one in March, so keep working on those verses even if you're not ready for your awards. We also have an awesome event coming called the Awana Grand Prix. Some of you might remember doing this a few years ago, or you've had brothers and sisters who have done this in the past. But the Awana Grand Prix is where you get to take a wooden block and make it into a car. Then we race them down this very special track that Mr. Sandlin does all sorts of fun stuff with. So those are available right now for your moms and dads to buy on the Awana store online, or on the 24th when we have our walk-up awards, there will also be cars there for you to buy and get cut out that day. Mr. Sandlin will do that for you. It's going to be a really awesome, fun thing, but it'll be different than we normally do. In years past, we usually get to go and see the cars racing, but this year we'll be doing it at the church and recording the videos to send to you later. So you won't get to see it in person, but you will get to see the races. It'll be a lot of fun. All right, boys and girls, for our lesson, we are going back to the Old Testament, back to Genesis. Last we were here, we learned about Jacob and his brother Esau. Today, we are going to learn about Jacob's sons. Now, Jacob had a lot of children. He had 12 boys. Wow, that's a lot of kids. All siblings fight, but Jacob made some mistakes as a dad, and he treated his son Joseph better than all of his other children. Jacob did not treat them fairly. We're going to go to our Bibles and we're going to open up to Genesis chapter 37. So remember, Genesis is at the beginning of our Bible, right? So we're going to open up to Genesis chapter 37. Remember, that's our big number we're looking for. So Genesis 37. And then we need to find the little number 4. So I'm flipping pages trying to find my big number 37. I found 36. Whoa, there's my big 37. Do you see that, friends? And I'm going to go down to my little number 4. Genesis 37, verse 4. Let's read it together. But when his brothers saw that their father loved him more than all his brothers, they hated him and could not speak peacefully to him. Isn't that sad, boys and girls? These are brothers that should have loved each other, but because their dad didn't treat them fairly, they were not happy with their brother Joseph. Now, boys and girls, raise your hand if you know what it means to be jealous. Yeah, a lot of you do. To be jealous means to want what someone else has so much that you actually want to be him or her. Have you ever been jealous? Did your friend get called on in class when you really wanted to answer? Did your brother get a present that you liked more? Has your sister ever gotten to do something you wanted to do because she was older? Most of us have dealt with some kind of jealousy or disappointment. But this was a lot more than just the jealousy we think of. Like we said, Jacob had a lot of sons that he did not treat fairly. Joseph was his favorite, and that made the rest of the boys very jealous. Jacob even gave Joseph a special coat that let his brothers know that he was liked best. We know from the Bible that the coat was the kind worn by very important people, such as kings' sons or rich people who didn't have to work. You might have heard of this before when we talk about Joseph and his multicolored coat. Sometimes that gets talked about, all the colors that were on it. Well, the colors means that it was expensive because back then there wasn't all the different fabric that we have now. So the fact that it had lots of colors on it means that it was very expensive. It also made it harder for Joseph to be able to work with his brothers when they took care of the animals. So most of the time he was inside or at camp doing other things while his brothers did the hard work, which didn't help their jealousy. Joseph's brothers hated him even more after Joseph told them about the dreams God had given him. According to the dreams, one day all Joseph's brothers would bow down to him. Do you think his brothers liked hearing about that? No way. They already hated Joseph. They didn't want to hear that one day Joseph would save him and they would bow down to him. That wasn't good for their relationship. But God gave Joseph those dreams, so he wanted to share them with his family because they were from God. One day, Jacob sent Joseph out to the fields to see how his brothers were doing while they were taking care of the animals. When the brothers saw him coming, they thought about killing him. The oldest brother stopped that from happening. So instead, the brothers threw Joseph into a pit. When a caravan came by, they sold him as a slave. Joseph found himself on his way to Egypt. Next week, we're going to find out what happened with Joseph in Egypt. But back at home, his brothers were so ashamed of what they did that they couldn't tell their dad what they'd done. How could they tell him what horrible thing they had done to their brother they were supposed to love? Instead, they lied to their dad. They killed an animal, put the animal's blood on Joseph's coat, and showed it to their father. They pretended like an animal had killed Joseph. Their father thought his favorite son was dead. That's horrible. So sad. Jealousy is not a good thing. When you are jealous of someone or what they have, it often leads to anger. Jesus plainly tells us that hating someone is a sin. Instead of being mad at Joseph, the brothers should have showed kindness. After all, their brother had walked a long way to make sure they were okay. They should have been happy that God gave Joseph a dream and grateful that God was going to save them through Joseph, which was what the dream was about. But they weren't. They were being so selfish and just wanting what they wanted that they didn't care about how Joseph felt. It wasn't Joseph's fault that Jacob made poor choices in treating him better. Joseph didn't ask for it, but his brothers treated him poorly because of it. Sometimes it's hard to look at other people and their stuff and not get jealous. But jealousy can lead you to do lots of bad things. Instead of being jealous of what your brother or sister has, would it be so hard to tell them congratulations? Sometimes it can be hard, but it's also the right thing to do. The Bible tells us to be happy for those who are happy. In Romans 12:15, it says, "Rejoice with those who rejoice." It isn't easy, but it keeps you out of lots of trouble and helps you be friendly to others. Even when we're saved, we still struggle with sin and we still do bad things. It's very easy to get angry at people and jealous of what they have. The Bible tells us to humble ourselves. That means that we need to treat people well and not think we're better than they are. We can all show God's love to others by treating them nicely. All right, boys and girls, my challenge to you this week is that when something happens that makes you feel jealous or maybe start to get angry of someone else, I want you to pause, take a deep breath, take a couple more if you need to. And when you're calm, I want you to tell that person, congratulations. Because a lot of these things aren't things that they're doing. You're upset with something that someone else did for them, and that's not fair to them. So I want you to take a deep breath, tell them, congratulations. It might be hard, but it makes us better friends and better followers of Jesus. All right, my Sparkies, I hope you have a wonderful week. Get lots of verses done so that you get lots of awards. And I will see you next week.